I really love listening to audiobooks and podcasts when I ride, particularly on gravel rides, and especially when the ride is long. And I've tried quite a few earphones over the years. I'm going to talk about my favorite so far, and that is the Oladance OWS Sport. What I like about these is that they provide the situational awareness like bone conducting earphones do, but they have much better sound quality. If you've watched my channel for a while, you may remember that a few years ago I reviewed the Oladance OWS ones. They have those same characteristics, great sound quality, situational awareness. The disadvantage to these is the fact that you could not put them around your neck when you were not listening to your music or podcasts. I like the fact that I can just put these on my ears when I'm ready to use them, and then when I'm done, I can just take them off. Now, the OWS ones were super comfortable. In fact, they were so comfortable that I would forget they were on my ears, and when I took my helmet off, they would just go flying. I'm going to talk about a few features of these, and then we're going to talk about the sound quality. First of all, these are IPX8 waterproof, which means you can get sweat on them, you can get caught in the rain, and it's no big deal. You can even rinse these off, which is really important for sports because when you sweat all over them, you don't want to leave sweat on earphones. It can damage them over a long period of time. You can even drop these in the water and they're going to be fine. In fact, I think IPX8 means they can be in water for up to 30 minutes and be okay. They have a 15-hour battery life, which is excellent, more than bone conducting earphones. And they have a quick charge feature in that 15 minutes will give you 6 hours of battery life. Speaking of charging, there is a proprietary cable that attaches by a magnet. So if you can see that in the video, the magnet just holds the cable on. It is proprietary, so you don't want to lose the cable. It also comes with a case. And one thing that I like about Oladance products is that they are really high quality. There's so many just cheap headphones out there. Really nice case. Inside there's a pocket where you can keep the cable. Now, obviously one disadvantage of bone conducting or these kind of earphones is the fact that you cannot just stick them in your pocket when you're not using them. These you could, right? This comes with a really nice case. Not quite as compact as something like the Apple AirPods. These are pretty light. They're 26 grams, which is about 3 grams lighter than bone conducting earphones. Now, I will mention the band, again, just like bone conducting, means that if you lay back and your head is resting like against the pillow, if you're just reading, laying down, they do press on them. And in fact, that's probably one of the only situations where they're not really appropriate. Everything else, especially for sports, they're amazing because of the sound quality. So let's talk about the sound quality. Bone conducting earphones like these Shokz Open Run Pros, they pretty much just don't have any bass, which is why I don't really use these for music. For podcasts and audiobooks, they're okay. These, even for podcasts and audiobooks, these are a lot better just because they have that wide range of frequencies. In fact, when you're listening to an audiobook, the bass, I don't notice a difference in other earphones like these, and I'm going to talk about the bass of Jaybirds and even the Apple AirPods because those have really good bass. But compared to bone conducting earphones, these have a lot of bass for music and for podcasts and audiobooks. So as I mentioned, I don't really use these for music. These I would use for music. So if I put on a spectrum the audio quality, and when I say audio quality, I'm talking about clear treble, clear voices, and clean sounding deep bass. So if I put these on a spectrum, I put bone conducting over here, and I'll do Apple AirPods because a lot of people use these. I would put these probably about over here, not quite what Apple AirPods are in terms of sound quality, but very close. In fact, these have in the app, which I'll show the app coming up, you can adjust the equalizer on these. And when I did that, it really improved the sound quality. And so I would suggest doing that, bumping up the bass a little bit, bumping up the treble. That will make them clearer and have better bass. If I were just sitting around listening to music while I work, I would probably lean more towards something like the Apple AirPods, just because they have a bit better sound quality. Now, I'm pretty particular about my sound. You may not care at all. The comfort of the OWS Sports is really good. In fact, I wore these today for about 3 hours because I knew I would be doing this review and I just wanted to report back on the sound quality. They don't press on your head like bone conducting earphones do. The bone conducting have to push a little bit on your head. It's not terrible. I mean, I could wear them for a couple of hours and I'd be okay, but these, I could wear them all day and the comfort is just fine. So the way that these work is they have speakers on the outside and you can see how they sit on my ears, and they just put the music into your ears, and very similar to the OWS ones. I mean, these just set outside your ears and pump the music in. Another nice thing about these is they have multi-point connectivity, which means you can pair them to 2 devices and use them pretty much at the same time. So let me show the buttons, and I'll do it by just showing these up close so you can get an idea of the functionality. On the right earphone, you have 2 buttons. If you hold this top one down for 2 seconds, it'll power them on. Same thing to turn them off. And this is also your volume up, so you just tap it for volume up. Tap this one for volume down. On the left earphone, you have a multifunction button, which you can change in the app. Again, I'll show you the app coming up here in a minute. By default, if you press it one time, it'll pause the music. Press it again, it'll play. Double click it and it will skip forward. Triple click and it will go backwards. You can also answer calls by tapping on the button when they're coming through. As far as using these with gloves, they're okay, especially the left one. Like, it doesn't really matter how thick your gloves are because there's just one button. On this side, I haven't really used them with winter gloves. It might be kind of hard to find these buttons. I've used them with fairly thick cycling gloves with no problem, but just wanted to mention that. Now I'll show you the app real quick. With the app open, I'm going to tap on this little icon on the left that looks like a pointing finger, and that way you can go into changing your multifunction button. So you can change the single tap, change the double tap. So triple tap, by default, it will go to the previous song. I'm going to tap on call at the top, and you can see that you can change what happens when you're taking a call. So as I mentioned, single tap will answer a call. If you double tap, it'll reject a call. And then triple tap, by default, was do nothing. I changed it to mute. Back on the home screen here, I can tap on the icon on the right, and that way you can change your equalizer. So I did customize, and that's the setting that I chose. If I swipe over, you can see there's this OWS button, and I'm going to show you that coming up here in a minute. At the very bottom, I'm going to tap on the second icon, and I'll just mention that there's a feature of these that I have not had a chance to try. It's a walkie-talkie type feature where if you have someone else that has these earphones, you can add them as a contact and you can do some kind of chat. Again, it's not something that I've tried, but it is a fairly unique feature of these. So I mentioned this button that Oladance makes, and what this does is it basically acts as a multifunction button that you can strap on your arm, on your handlebars, whatever, and it does the same thing as a multifunction button. So you can play and pause your music, skip forward, answer calls, that kind of thing. And so once you pair this to the app, it will have that functionality with the earphones. So let me just wrap it up by talking about use cases for these. The OWS Sports have pretty much replaced bone conducting earphones for me because of the sound quality. I can use these for music, no problem. If you're an absolute audiophile and you're sitting around listening to music, well, if you're an audiophile, you're probably not even using Apple AirPods. You're probably using some much higher quality earphones. But if you really like excellent sound quality and you want the convenience of a pocketable earphone like these, then you're probably going to lean more towards Jaybirds and Apple AirPods. But if you need situational awareness and you want really good sound quality, these are it. I mean, honestly, I haven't found anything better. Now, the Apple AirPods, they do sit really loosely in your ears so you can hear things going on around you. However, I just can't work out with these. They just fall out of my ears. Literally, when I do push-ups, one of them will just fall out of my ear. The Jaybirds, you know, something like these where they go in your ears and block out sound. There is a situation for these when you really just don't want external sound. Now, one thing that I'll go ahead and say is, as far as volume, these are louder than bone conducting earphones if the wind noise is really high. So let's say you're going over 20, 21 miles an hour. That's where you are going to have trouble hearing things as far as hearing what people say. And like when cars pass you, now that's a good thing, right? You don't want to hear any music or podcasts when a car is passing you. You want to pay attention to the car. But that kind of noise, that's where they are going to, you know, allow a little bit too much sound for hearing your music. But for riding below 20 miles an hour, obviously for running, for mountain biking, they're going to be totally fine. But there are a few situations, like when I make my smoothies in the morning, the blade is wearing out, so they're really loud. So my point is, you may have situations where you want to block out sound, you don't want to hear people, you want a quiet environment. Then you're going to lean more towards something like the Jaybirds to have phenomenal sound quality and also block out external noise. So I'll put a purchasing link below if you want to pick these up. They are my go-to now for long gravel rides. And if you need something with good sound quality and you want to have that situational awareness, I would really think about giving these a try. They're excellent quality, and I think they're going to last a long time. So that's going to wrap it up for this review. Any questions or comments, go ahead and drop those below. If you've used these, please let me know what you think, because they are out now. You can purchase them on Kickstarter. Let me know. Catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.